What is up, guys? Welcome back to another gameplay video of Madden 25. Um, I'll just be going over practicing with a backup quarterback. And this time, perfect. Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham. All right. He was a quarterback that was kind of like on the verge of me. Like when it came down to quarterbacks that I would play, the Broncos were one of the teams that I didn't want to play with. They did have a good enough backup like years past, but Jarrett Stidham was one of those players that was in between of me being okay with using or not. Um, what you need to understand is if you do want to play with backup quarterbacks, you do need to practice and see what they're capable to do, what you're capable, what scheme you can use with them, what type of plays you can use with them, and to build a, successful, comfortable, basically playbook to execute at a high will. Um, and what I like to do in practice is basically go against every single defense, and I try to basically, depending on my playbook or whatever, I go like with random formations. So, for example, if it's pistol, I'll go with every single pistol. So it could be pistol spread. The first formation could be pistol spread at a pistol, right? The set. Um, I will study that down. I will practice that down until I'm comfortable, you know, um, with that set. So I try to basically be comfortable with every set and every formation. I try to be. Um, Sometimes I'll just practice a little bit, and just get into an online game. But for the most part, now the other thing is that a lot of times, if you're not having as good of a practice, sometimes it helps you out in an actual game because you're already frustrated from kind of like you could have, let's say you had a frustrating start to a practice and then you pretty much did well at the end of your practice, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to play an online game. That can put you in a better, um, that can put you in better spirits because you're just coming off of kind of having a so-so practice or a sucky practice to start, and it can kind of motivate you to take every play seriously in the game. I do know when I do practice, I do find myself winning more games because you're not just like your timing is better. You just got done actually playing. What regardless, even if it wasn't an actual game, against a computer or online opponent. You're actually playing. You're trying out your plays that you normally would play, uh, use in a game. Where do I go? Practice. Okay, practice. Um, and there were times where I say, "Oh, I can't use this quarterback. This quarterback's like he has like 70, 68 throw under pressure, or I don't like these attributes that they have." But I would go and practice, and I find out, you know what? They're actually decent enough, you know. Hopefully, so I always say try to go against the best offense, and I try to go against the best defense in practice. Um, and that's the Ravens for me. Offensively, I don't know. It all depends. Sometimes I would want to go against the best offensive line of game or a team who maybe has the best running back. Like let's say if I'm trying to stop the run on defense, I'd maybe go with the Colts and um, or my own Eagles and see like, okay, how can I stop somebody like Saquon Barkley that also has an elite offensive line? How can I stop somebody like Jonathan Taylor who also has a kind of like an elite offensive line? How can I play mobile quarterbacks? And it's kind of like what you call it, what teams do in practice. Um, they basically what's the word? What's the term they use in practice? They're uh, like where they're practicing against like if the team has a mobile quarterback, it could be like their second or third quarterback on the roster, or like a scout team, right? I think that's what it is. It's a scout team, and you're basically going up against like you're going up against a scout team to where they have. I guess they put like the scout team having a similar type of roster that you're going up against defensively, like you're going up against a Lamar Jackson, you're going up against a power back like Derrick Henry, you're going up against somebody who passes it mostly. But understanding defenses like them playing back off their leverages, their techniques. You could use certain plays like RPOs, run pass options. You can run outside, you can run inside, you can use draw plays, you can use certain pass concepts and routes to basically get an advantage, kind of like rub plays to, or screen plays, bubble screens, um, easy check down passes or easy jet pass plays. There's a lot of plays, play action, a lot of plays that can work like a run in the game. And it's not that I'm scared to run the ball. I just feel like I don't like to run it because it just I don't want to ever be judged and say like, oh, you need to run the ball. Now in real life, hey, you know, I don't care. All right, sorry for that one guy who came on and the one person who came on and just left. I had to help out my fiance with something. They were suffering from headaches the last few days, and I said, you know what? I suffered from headaches a few times, and eating meat, any kind of meat like chicken, steak, boiled eggs, whatever protein, meat-based protein actually helped. Who knows? Maybe diabetic, so my fiance tends to eat when they're feeling low, thinking that that's what they need to do. They need to just like eat a lot to prevent being too low, and then there's a sugar spike. So that's probably what's causing headaches. And then sustainable energy, slow release proteins keep your body fueled with nutrients, combating hunger, pangs, and headaches. Headaches, because a lot of times we don't know that we're actually hungry, but we are. Uh, and sometimes we think we are hungry, but we're not. Provides key nutrients like protein sources often contain magnesium and B vitamins crucial for headache prevention. So it's basically helps with headaches when they're happening and prevent headaches too. And good sources are obviously your protein, lean meats, and fish, chicken, turkey. We have some real turkey breast belly meat from Trader Joe's. Let's see, salmon. I think doesn't have any type of fish, only tuna. That might be good. Dairy. Oh, okay. So actually, I thought this was saying which ones not to consume. Okay, so milk, cottage cheese, Greek yogurts are good. Avoid aged cheeses if sensitive. Interesting. Okay, right here it says plant-based beans, lentils, chickpeas, tofu, nuts, seeds. That makes sense. That really makes sense because you know seeds especially help out with your brain. So, all right. So to go back here, we could either go by plate type. We could go to all these different types of plate types here. Types of plate types. Types of plate types. Um, so there's only 8 plates with a quick pack. 11. Shotgun obviously is going to have the most, so I throw it around with a shotgun pass for that. So, for formation, then we'll go with formations in different sets. All right. So one thing I would say is try to get as much information from the defense as possible. Like, are they one high, two high? How are the corners outside playing? How is the front looking? Because we are in a spread formation, if you actually audible to a regular pass that brings all the receivers, and all the receivers, and when I mean receiver, I'm not just talking about wide receivers. I'm talking about tight ends, inline receivers, running backs, fullbacks, whoever's an eligible wide receiver. So you could do something like I said, maybe go to shotgun Y off trips, like to bring them in. It's just an example. Now you can see how the front is. Now you don't have to do that to understand what the front is. The front is in. Like for beginners, I would just say like you now have a different look, maybe more of a definitive look, because we go back to this. You may not know who's blitzing. You may not know if they're man or zone. You may not know how the front is, if they're stacking the box or not. You might guess and think this is a base defense or a nickel defense. Doing what I showed you, audibling out. Like I said, you don't need to, because I can tell just from the line. You can tell from these defenders out here, they're trying to align with receivers that they are linebackers. So they're one high. We know they're in a base defense, so we have the advantage with having more receivers here. Touchdown if I can. Okay, right here we got too high look, remember you can always try to run the ball, like I say, against too high look. It's not always the case, but if you, it all depends. If you think there's a blitz, if there's not a blitz, maybe you run it. Sometimes certain blitzes can get picked up easily. You can see here, okay, like I said, that looks like a run. I just mentioned earlier. Once again, too high, but it looks like they might rotate, and the free safety will stay in the middle. You never know. So this concept actually works out pretty great. Um, with this, you could think outside in or inside out. Here, I would say maybe go outside in because the flat might be the one to be open or the post, and then you can read it left to right. So 4-3 right there. Big play from the pro flat concept. And I always like to grade my plays. So basically, if I take a coverage sack, I might give myself like a D or an F. Or, if I had the right intentions, went through my reads right, and was off a little bit, I might give myself like a C or something because I went to the right read. That's just an example. Like I'm off on the throw, but if I make the wrong read or something, I'll give myself an F, or D minus, whatever. Right here, as you can see, I read the flat and the post, so I read the left side, right? And then I go to the spot. I don't like it, right? Because I can't just like make a throw. I'm not comfortable making a throw there. I mean, you could say I could throw it inside and he could body the linebacker right there, but I end up going here and I trust that he's going to come back to the ball. Here's one high. Once again, we're going to read this left to right, or we can read it right to left. Now, a lot of people will tell you you can draw a straight line from where the center is and see, like, for example, if you were running the ball here, you can run it to the right, or you can go to the side that has more numbers here, which, in terms of coverage, in my opinion, you draw a line right in the middle, right where the center is. So coverage wise, it's kind of even, but there's like an X. Like the upfield wheel routes or whatever by the running backs, and then if they're not open, you can read the drag and then you can go to the post. So you need to understand how you time your reads and your progression, knowing which ones will be your first and second, and which ones will be your third or fourth or your last read. Our last read will most likely be, if we read one side, our last reads will probably be reading the other side and then going to that post left. So let's read this out. And that's why I said what I said. Depending on what they're in, they were probably in the cover zero, but didn't have anybody to cover. They were in one high, I believe, weren't they? So, okay, so they did come with a heavy blitz. And like I said, when you are going to a heavy blitz, sometimes, especially with a heavy zone blitz, guys go for depth and don't go and cover sideline to sideline like chase players. So right here, because it's such a heavy blitz, there is no actual flat defender here. Meaning, like, it wasn't like a cover two invert, giving you a one high look, and these corners are playing off, but then they play like soft squat, no soft squat there. Everybody was chasing, so I knew, okay, they're blitzing me. He's open, regardless of who has him in man coverage. I know to key in these two guys right here if I want that open. Now, let's say he's covered. I'm going to the drags. I'm looking at which drag it's open. That wasn't great. And then I'm looking to the post, you know, and then maybe I'm buying time at that point. Nobody's open. Throw the ball away or try to make a play. Right here, we got a levels concept with a corner out here and a flat. And we got, once again, too high. You got to understand, like, if you got to understand how to beat certain defenses. Me, I just go through my reads because I don't want to take extra time to say, oh, is this a cover 2, a cover 6, a cover 4? I just want to go through my reads, you know, stuff like that. If you can go through your reads, one thing you want to do so you don't get caught by surprise is make sure you're doing your blocking assignments. So right here, they're telling us who might be hot, the hot icons, the fire emojis, right? Those are guys who would be hot. So do we really care about this guy? No. Do we care about this guy? Well, I mean, it all comes down to like, do you want to block your running back? Because we do have enough like options. So we don't think. I always say first thing is it cover 0. I don't think it's cover 0. They're not giving me a birds on a fence look. They're giving me a look of kind of having flats outside by outside corners. So let's see what we got here. And if they do that, it's a type of cover 2, and most cover 2s ain't going to defend the middle right there. So basically understanding coverages, understanding how zones play, and reading the leverages and techniques, as you can see right here. Because this receiver is where he is, he's threatening to go deep with his route here. So you see in the cover 2, they're really carrying him. They're just running that. Now, let's say there was no routes ran deep. Instead of him trying to get back, real quick back there, he's maybe shuffling his feet and slowly getting back there because he's not seeing any route. You know, but like I said, it's all about understanding coverages. It's about going through your reads, timing your reads, and the reason why I actually wanted to show you guys this practice is because there are times when you're practicing on offense, and there's different ways to read a defense. You can read a defense, right? Read the shell of the defense too high. The corners are playing. They're not playing a line, so they could be, it could be any type of cover 2. They could rotate down. But if you have the blocking adjustments down, you might have enough time, because you might be wrong. I mean, most of the time we might be wrong. 70-80% of the time you could be wrong. But if you do your blocking adjustments and you're kind of seeing like a numbers advantage somewhere, you might have enough time, 2-3 seconds, to read one side or go through most of your reads and and read key defenders and read movements from certain defenders pre-snap. Like I say, try to get as much information as possible pre-snap. Too high corners are playing a certain way. It looks like they might be blitzing here. They have they look like they're more, maybe it's like a nickel 3-3 or something like nickel 3-3-5, nickel 3-3-5 penny or nickel 3-3-5, meaning that they would match up with our 3 wide receivers. They would have 1 linebacker to match up, or 2 linebackers to match up with our tight end and running back, and 3 corners to match up with our wide receivers, along with 2 safeties over the top. Now, depending on what those safeties do, that's how you read. You go through your reads. But with a play like this, mesh spot, you want to read the drags. Obviously, a lot of the times based off the front, you don't want to just like move to try to get certain throws that will get you sacked. Like, what I mean is, let's say you're reading the valet and Troutman, and you want to like go to the right a little bit, move up to the right, roll out to the right. You could get a sack, before you get that throw open. But right here, I would say like key in defenders. You could say, okay, let's say that one fire emoji, that one hot defender does blitz. We have Troutman going into that area. We have Sutton, we have Troutman, we got Mims, and if everything stays good, we go through our reads. Okay, good. Third read. Blitzing. We didn't need to know what the zone was. We didn't need to know what the coverage was. We didn't need to know what blitz it was. We got that ball out quick because it's an easy pass concept. Now, once again, 1 high. It's a little bit weird here. Whenever you get a weird look like this, you got to know they're probably blitzing somebody like on the corner blitz. Now, another thing that pays that pay like another thing you should do that pays, you know, studying every single type of defense. And it's funny that I'm saying this because Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning, the best to ever do it. Um, Regardless if they studied defenses or not, they just had so much experience that you couldn't help but just know what defense was coming because you have 20 plus years in the league or whatever it is. You're not going to get got as much as like newer quarterbacks coming into the league or their first 4 or 5 years. Um, so, like right here, you got one high. They look like they might be blitzing off the edge. Do we like to run the ball? That's why I say take as much information as possible pre-snap. Do we like running the ball? Do we like passing the ball? Do we like a certain play like an RPO to check into? Do we want a quick pass, a play action? Well, I will tell you right now, you could probably run the ball even though it's a bigger front because we might be able to block the first line and then the second line of defense might be slow to react. But we do have, let's say we do go to play action. Um, it's risky because somebody might get free off the edge here. Let's see what we got. Okay. Okay, now we're just. That was my fourth read. I really wanted to go to show you my first. I really wanted him here, right? I still could have gone there because I thought he was just a regular flat route, but he was like I forgot he's not actually a running back. He looked like he was running a flat first or running a fake jet and then runs upfield. So I could have had that. That's where I say you key in certain defenders. Let's say you key in him, right? You say like, okay, let's say I do know what route I have. He's playing really shallow, to look for maybe like I don't know something in the flats, take the flat away, right? And you could hit this right now because you key in him and you know pre-snap like, hey, he's going to be in the deep third. We don't even need to look at him. We key in on this guy. He takes the flat away. Boom, right here. Regardless of what route this is, you can make that throw, right? It's reading their first initial movements. It's keying in certain defenders on one side, or let's say you're not sure what the defense is in, and you read the middle. Sometimes you have a play like that we just had mesh spot or something underneath. Well, maybe you don't know what the defense is, but you get one high and you say, okay, I'm going to look to a play like PA crossers, not the PA crossers out of shotgun, like out of a 3-4 wide receiver set, but a regular shotgun, like out of a pistol or something, where there's like one drag by tight end and like a deep over route by the other tight end. And then you're like just picking, okay, are they playing underneath? Underneath? Go over the top to that other tight end. Are they playing over the top? Take the underneath tight end. So it's like having the numbers advantage, keying in defenders, reading the middle, using your numbers advantage, making sure your blocking adjustments are good enough. That's like number one in my opinion. Number two is reading the defense. And number one could be reading the defense. Number two could be doing your blocking adjustments and reading the defense, the shell and everything, and reading if there's a blitz. You can really make the game easy. So right here we get one high. We did see them coming down a bit, so that could be a blitz. That could just be them rotating down. We do have two block and release routes. If they're blitzing, they will um, block. You know, if they're not blitzing, I believe they go out. Just not sure. So see that. So as you can see, like there's times where I have videos of me playing in practice and I'm talking to you guys, and the practice goes for a long time, and I'm not taking every single play in practice seriously, like I do maybe the first 20, 30 plays, because I just, it starts to get a little boring, telling you guys, so I'll just like try to execute without reading everything. Like that, for example. Don't want to do that. You want to, you want to stay a tick longer and make sure he's at position. But I should never thrown that because, first of all, nobody was showing that they were, not gonna cover him pre-snap. So I mean, right as soon as I spiked as soon as I hike the ball, you can tell what they're doing, and I just didn't. I just went really quick with it. I like this play here if you have enough time. You're attacking every level of the defense on that play. And that's why I like it. And I'll show you why. I'll show you how it attacks every area of the defense right here. You have something that could be, you know, work against like certain deep defenses, like drop defenses, like this. You could throw this, and depending on what the routes these guys are having, well, obviously if it's this play, maybe they're obviously backed off. Everybody's backed off. Cover two sink, cover four drop, cover three drop. Drop plays. Who knows? Maybe match plays. I'm not sure. But if it's man coverage, you have this shake route here. You also have a 50-50 ball here to an actual 50-50 ball receiver. And then you have this double move here, which you can throw if the defender isn't inside of him, the other defender isn't inside. You would see that this would be wide open for a slant. That's usually the case, and that's usually one of the reasons I use this play to get the receiver singled up with my opponent using somewhere in the middle or, whatever, singling up my wide receiver too, right there. May not give you a numbers advantage, but gives you a one-on-one advantage, whether it's man or zone. So as you can see here, like evolution for me was like I would throw this sometimes right here. I would throw it, thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get to the 30, maybe make a miss or something. I throw it, nothing. 3 to 5 yard behind the line of scrimmage. So that evolution going through your reads. And let's say he gives you the look of 50-50, like he could come drive down on it or he can stay here. Well, you take a little extra peek. Now you see that. Okay, he's out of the way. Everybody else is in, zone, but they're not, you know, they're sticking on other guys. Right here we get a heavy, which would be like a quarters rush, I believe, quarters rush. So not a quarters 3D, but a quarters rush defense, meaning that, and it's usually quarters 1-7, I believe, um, quarters rush defense, meaning one defensive lineman, which is a nose tackle, and then three linebackers and seven DBs, meaning like five corners and two DBs. I mean, five corners and two safeties. Oh crap! I thought I had a run because I would love to run against that. That's why I thought sometimes I'm in practice, I go quick and I'm thinking, oh, this play, I'm going to keep it. I have a run play. I didn't have a run play. You just assume that because that would be perfect at the time for that. Okay, see right there, victory drops. But you can see a play like this, right? Deep routes. I mean, you don't really have to take too long on that. You can go off with that, and you can literally see, guys. What do we have here? Can you see? Look at this. Can you see this? I spent too much time actually being greedy and wanting a touchdown here. If I didn't do that, because nobody ended up being open. If I don't do that, right, and I quickly go off of that, like boop, right here, I'm getting what, 8 to 12 yards maybe, make a miss or something, truck, stiff arm, whatever. Here, what happened was I took too much time, and then I went here because the tight end didn't release yet, and then I still waited to see how the defender was playing him, and then so right about here is when I start to think about throwing to the tight end. Let's see, because yep, see, because I'm trying to see how is this defender going to play him? Is he going to stay back or is he going to come down on him? So right here, even though he doesn't actually come down, I just didn't like it, because I'm probably going to be tackled immediately. Here we go. All right, now, this looks like it could be a quarters defense, cover four, meaning um, two safeties will kind of play inside guys. So you'll have Troutman one-on-one. Um, and maybe you put somebody like a Mims on a deep post here if the safeties stay there. So it's only 2-3 yards, but we were wrong with this, our assessment of it being the cover four. Maybe who knows? Maybe it's a cover four, a different cover four quarters. There are different types of cover fours. Um, okay, so this kind of looks like it was cover six or cover nine or something here. We got okay, so I'm guessing I'm guessing a cover six. Okay, yep. Cover nine is usually where one safety is just like playing one side of the field and the other safety is kind of like playing down. So both of the safeties kind of, let me think. So both of the safeties do end up staying or going where they normally would go in a certain type of cover four. So maybe like palms or I forgot which one it is. Cover four drop. Let me see here. Cover four could it have been cover. It could have been cover four drop. Okay. You just gotta know if it's quarters, cover four. Sometimes the safeties will like double slot receivers, and then your wide receivers outside or your tight end inside will be one on one, and then you can hot route your tight end inside, who's not going to be doubled by the safeties. And then the deep middle will be wide open because the safeties are basically helping out on the slot receivers, depending how their routes are. If they're like corner routes, the middle of the defense will be spread out and wide open, and you could hot route this deep post, you could hot route comeback, because you're one on one at that point. Once again here. All right, right here we're getting like a cover zero look. I don't really like this play because Mims may be covered pretty good on that crosser. You want crossers again, you want runaways, but it's not really a good runaway. So, regular slant about that. Right. Okay, so right here, once again, whenever I have an upfield wheel route here, I want to read like I want to read. This is a great play if you have the timing here, the blocking, because you can very quickly go to your reads and key certain defenders. Like it's one high, but this defender right here might play back, and this could rotate into a cover three, or it could stay like this and be a cover four. I believe a cover four would still give you Williams. Um, so let's see this. Okay, we got it. Like I said, whether it's cover three or cover four, you can have Williams there, easy, easy peasy. And those are the plays where you can say, "Oh man, you get rid of the ball that quick and you have a big play." That makes it look so damn good. You know, it makes you look like you know what the fuck you're doing because look at this. We're keying in on those two guys, those two defenders. Look at what they're doing because he's in the deep blue, right? It looks like he's just going to help out, right? But he's going in the deep blue, and he is a receiver running deep, so he has to run deep, right? Because our running back isn't, isn't out there as a wide receiver. You know, this corner here is playing a deep blue because he's not being threatened by this yet. Now he might be threatened by it, like if we wait a little longer here, you know, until like maybe like here he might be threatened by it, and then they switch it off to the safety here to cover that. But use that to your advantage. Like if they're going to play that back deep pre-snap and you get it post-snap, hit them down to this. You don't know how many times. Oh, I'm worried on the 3rd and 8, 4th and 8, 3rd and 8, and I throw this for a first down. Like you got to think like that's got to piss off your opponent or defense. The defense. Okay, right here, heavy. It looks like they're in base possibly, or like a nickel 3-3-5, like a bigger nickel, or a base defense. But they're looking like they're trying to bring a house. They actually give us a great play here because we have options. We got the smoke route, we got the wide receiver on an angle route, we got a wheel route by the inside receiver here. But like that. As you can see right there, they give us the perfect play, but we also read the defense to get into the right play, so we keep it. Now, let's say they blitzed, right? But um, there's times where maybe other guys blitz and this guy's staying in the hard flat or something, and you want to wait until everybody comes. But when you do wait, sometimes this defender goes out to cover him, you know. Or let's say you throw it now and it's a pick, you know, by accident. Right here, it looks like they're giving me a really big base defense, like a 4-6 or a 4-4. I believe this is a 4-6 defense. I could be wrong. But with that, you just got to know, like, I normally try to attack them. It all depends. I try to attack them deep, try to take advantage of them because 4-6s are not great to defend. You can't defend every like route or every area of the field, but 4-6s is even like 4-6s are even worse to defend everything. So there's always going to be an area, you know, that you're going to be able to nickel and dime or get big plays right there. I quickly go to a nickel, to nickel and diamond. But there's always basically, whether it's not being able to tackle right away, whether it's them playing deep because they only have one safety, they want to protect everything deep. We have stuff short, whether it's that, and we take a check down, or they just play aggressively in a 4-6 and we attack them deep vertically, you know what I mean? So with that, it's just like, okay, it's more of like a cover three, maybe a cover three match, or a drop defense out of a 4-6, or a deeper defense out of a 4-6. You just want to know, like I said, they can't defend every defense. I mean, they can't defend every route. They can't defend every blade of grass, every area of the field. But when they're in a 4-6, 5-2, 4-4, it makes it just even harder. So you just got to know, okay, are they dropping everybody? Are they trying to like play safe because they're in a 4-6 and dropping everybody back and leaving checkdowns? Take the checkdowns. Are they playing aggressively, trying to blitz? Go over the top. You know. Now, this is where you can learn and say like, okay, next time they're in this look, we look to this tight end on a hitch or curl, and then we look to the double move here because you can see, boom. Just because we executed the play, I'd give myself a B minus. Just because I executed the play to a B minus doesn't mean I can't still learn from it. We can still say like, hey, next time they're in this, if I get this too, I have enough time. We were comfortable knowing we had enough time. Take your pick. Once again, went high. It does look like it might be a base defense. Now, a way to tell might maybe, like I said, audible or something else. Sometimes you audible out of a spread, and it shows you more of a definitive defense. Sometimes you audible to a spread, and it'll give you that. This will actually keep guys more inside. but you can see what it does. So let's say, like I always say, like that's one way to, you could be stealing here. Let's say they only have one good safety. Now Hamilton's there, but let's say Hamilton was a guy you didn't want in the box, right? Well, now he's up there. Now you have a lesser guy in the box, the free safety. Let's just say you know the team inside and out, and you're like, okay, I want Hamilton to rotate up top. I don't want him in the box. I don't want him making plays in the box. I don't want him making plays, in crucial situations with certain pass concepts thrown down the middle or whatever. I want him playing back deep, and I want him just playing back deep. I don't want him, getting his nose in our business here. So we can do that. As you can see, if Hamilton was there, who knows? Maybe he like that height. Maybe he causes a fumble. Who knows that? We're taking the guy out of there. One high. We have something that's like a motion crosser here. Gosh, yeah. Try to press triangle instead of R1. Ready up. Got him. Come on. Give me that. Felt good. Give me that. I think I got that. I think he jumped and got it in. Wait, let me see. Let me see that. I initially thought he was probably going to go out of bounds on the catch, but he actually jumped and stayed in bounds, I believe. Because it looked like he was. Let me see this. Okay, he did step out of bounds. All right. I thought it was one of those weird ones where they look like they're totally going out of bounds and then they like shift their feet inside. Like I've seen that weird shit before. Like, you know. All right, here you are presenting eye candy whenever you have a motion, and like I said, you can free up somebody like Sutton if your opponent's user, goes out of the way here. Okay, so we did that. We got that. Never. Whenever a defender goes away from where the pass is going, you like that. Gosh, yeah. There was a glare on that side of the TV screen. All right, so right here, you really got to understand. I believe that these are not just regular like mesh spot or drags right here. These might be the drags that also sit against zone or something. I don't know if I got the running back there. So I'm not going to wait for those drags to get open because I saw the window of the throws. They weren't ever going to get open. So when that happens, you can use that to your advantage because I didn't look into the corner. I mean the post. So the post was open. So this is where you can say like, okay, let's put this in our memory bank. The drags weren't open, but I went to the flat because it looked like it was open. Next time, let's take a peek to let's get these defenders. I mean, yeah, they do a good job of making it look like they're not going to defend the drags and just play in the middle, but then they spread out and go cover the drags. That's why I say, like, sometimes you read the defender's initial first move, sometimes you go back to it, and look at this. Wide open. Go! Oh, God. I don't know why. Ready! Check out! Come on, deep there, buddy. Yeah. That means sometimes they might be using a linebacker and thinking that you're rolling around to try to get yards on a play that can't get nothing, and then guess what? They go off. They're thinking it's like a mesh spot, saying, "Oh, I'll give up that 5 yards. You probably run here and then boop, spot and go, spot and go." We got. Oh shit, I got it. Oh no, fucking Hamilton. All right, cover 0. I mean, does it matter who your quarterback is when you're facing a cover 0 and you know where it's coming from? Or 3 deep. We got a middle screen right here. With yep. Oh fuck! Did I hate that? Stop that shit. 6, 7 yards. And at first it looked like one of them was going to have a 50-50 chance, and I went off with it. Okay. Flying back. 4 yards, whatever. First down, second step, 7-6. Coming down. Ooh, touchdown. Thank you. Thank you for that heavy blitz. If it wasn't a heavy blitz and a different cover 3, probably tackle me for no gain, but because it's a big heavy blitz and they just have buzz defenders out there, no flat defenders, you know, the only guys that can go out there to defend that is after the fact in pursuit. I mean, he kind of, before the ball even comes out, kind of going there. But, hey, blocked. Bro, I was thinking about just going up, running it up. Now, they said that Jarrett Stidham was more athletic, or they would build an offense around him, rolling around and stuff. I look at his speed in Madden, he's got a 78. What the hell are you talking about? That's like average. What are you talking about here? You're telling me they didn't have, like, I don't know. At this point, I'm having like a 2 quarterback system. Like if I have a more, you know, if I had like a quarterback in practice squad, I'm probably having him as my backup or third backup, so that way I could, you know, I'm using jet sweeps with wide receivers. I'm using running back passes, wide receiver passes. I'm using Philly. I'm using double reverses. I'm using gadget plays. I'm using trick plays. I'm running the ball. I'm using RPOs, bubble screens. I'm bringing everything out. Wildcat, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Try to win that freaking game and let our defense go to work. You know what I mean? On the Broncos. Everything, if I'm the Broncos, everything's got to be, you know, working. There is no, oh, we're not going to run the ball. Don't give me that. Once again, quarter rush. Come on now. Thank you. Shit, I was saying when that ball was in the air, I was like, come on now. Oh, we got this time. This time, take it down. Oh, shit. What do we got? What do we got? Come on. Oh, yeah. I was going to say, even in practice now, I like that. In practice in years ago in Madden, you would never fumble. You would never be able to fumble in practice. I'm like, take that shit out of here. Make us fumble. Make us know when we have a penalty. Make us, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Hey. Yeah. Yep. But I use a rat catch instead of a second catch, thinking I could have it. Hey, come back, baby. Come on, Troutman. Yeah, baby. That's right. What do we get? What do we get? Look at that. Oh, what are we talking about here? You need a mobile. You need an elite quarterback? No, I don't think so. Ain't nobody. Ain't nobody. You need a mobile quarterback. It don't matter if you had Lamar Jackson or fucking Josh Allen at that point. You weren't gonna step up and run in there. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Give me what I want. Now, I don't do that type of shit. I don't do that type of shit. This, I don't like this fun stuff we play, but you can read it right.
first second restart. My God. Hey.